What is up? Welcome into another episode of Why So Sidious. As Love is back and opening up, we are here to talk about some Daredevil Born Again, the 2 episode release this week. We got treated to a little yin and yang parallel episode there between Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk, aka Daredevil and Kingpin. Before we get into that, as always, go ahead and follow us on the socials. You already heard it, but maybe you didn't do it yet, and maybe 329th time is the charm. So go ahead and follow us on X, TikTok, and Instagram at Why So Sidious Pod, and our YouTube. We are trying to get to 1,000 now. That is the goal. So be a gent and go ahead and help us out. Thank you, appreciate it. Check out our most recent episodes. Of course, we are Daredevil jam-packed recently. I think 4 out of the last 6 episodes are Daredevil related. So we've been covering the show. Excuse me. We've been covering Daredevil Volume 1, Road to Devil's Reign. We talked about some other pregame stuff leading into this. We've got a dog barking at thunder, always on deck. Got a Weekend Geek out there, and we just dropped our kind of reactions to the Avengers Doomsday casting. So we did kind of an all-encompassing Doomsday episode, JD and I. We will do a second part because there's even more to talk about, more news coming, and Lub will join us on that one. We'll get his thoughts on that as well. But it was a really fun episode. I think we had some pretty solid theories. I feel like we got a pretty good grasp of what we got ahead of us so far. So I thought it was a pretty solid episode, especially if you're really interested with this Doomsday news. How loud is the barking, would you say, that's going on in the background behind me?
Well, you could hear it.
Perfect.
It is audible. Well, yeah, I mean, great intro, Dave. Thank you. He is the best intro guy. He's our best host. And sometimes we like to give him a break. It takes a lot of energy to be that dope. So, is he done barking? Yeah.
Thank you, JD. Yes, I didn't mute my mic and scream at the top of my lungs at all. So let's roll into the episode. We're going to talk some Daredevil, but I wanted to talk about something real quick before we touch on episode 5 and 6. I've had some complaints about photos dropping from Daredevil Born Again Season 2 set photos. We've already seen a lot of stuff dropping. Every time I go on Instagram to make a post, I see a picture from the set. And it's like, sometimes it's fine. Sometimes it's like, cool, that's a character that I now know survived Season 1. So a little annoying, but I don't know if you guys saw the most recent one, but it's not much of a spoiler, and I wanted to talk about it. And if you haven't seen it, I'm shooting you a screenshot to the group chat right now so you can take a peek and know what I'm talking about. We got to look at a new Daredevil suit for Season 2. And as somebody who doesn't like Season 1's really, like I don't like this new red one. I liked She-Hulk's better. I liked the one in Echo better, and I definitely like the one on Netflix better. This is probably my least favorite other than Season 1's maybe. But I'm not a fan. So Season 2, dude, we have got the all-black Shadowlands suit with the 2 red Ds on the chest. I think it freaking looks sick. This is like my ideal suit. It's all black. The black ninja suit that we saw on Netflix is one of the dopest, simplistic outfits he just looks like a badass whenever he's wearing it. And I love this. This is like one of my favorite outfits in the MCU already. So I'm curious what you guys think about this look.
Oh man, yeah. So it looks great. I was wondering how the MCU was going to use the hand in Daredevil. I think this is how they're going to do it. I think the hand's going to come in and he's going to lead the hand, and that's what Shadowlands is, which kind of didn't really nail it in the comics, right? So not a great comic series. I think there was a couple like awesome issues. It just didn't pan out, but a really cool concept, right? It's pretty much Daredevil as a villain running, making sure the criminal underground goes his way. Like he's like, okay, I can't stop this. I can't put every one of these dudes in jail. I'm just going to run the criminal empire with the hand as my soldiers. And the Avengers kind of want to stop him. It's a crazy concept, so hopefully they do better in the show here.
I do see some of the art looks awful on some of the Shadowland stuff I'm looking at. I do not like the art style on a lot of these shots, but interesting. Lub, what do you think? You like the new look there?
I like the mask. I do like the mask. I like the black suit, but I don't like the DD. That might take a little bit to grow on me. And also, I agree with you. I don't like his suit in the Disney Plus series so far. I don't like the mask is a little bulky. And his beard's, I feel like his beard's too long for it too. I think he needs to trim it up a little bit.
But he does need to shave a little bit. Yeah, he's got a little extra scruff going there. But his chest is like, It reminds me, I forgot what the famous Captain America drawing is, where Captain America straight up looks like he has boobs, but it looks like that. It's like way over the top. It's like he there's a joke. Somebody's like, so the fandom wanted him to have DDs on his chest, and the MCU instead just gave him a set of DDs instead of a DD on his chest. It's like, yeah, that looks like it. But I personally like the lettering, but I love the whole sleekness to it. It looks clean. I'm so stoked to see that in action, and it's got like the red, almost Kylo Ren red cracks going through the mask, like in Rise of Skywalker. I love it. So wanted to talk about that real quick because I saw it right before we jumped on to record and got instantly excited. So let's jump into the episode. So again, like I said, I understand why they dropped 2 episodes at once. I didn't really know where they were going with episode 5 at first. I enjoyed it. It just kind of felt like a Mandalorian side quest episode. It was like that. Totally kind of felt completely removed from the story, other than the fact we knew it was Luca's goons. But then we saw in episode 6 the purpose of it. And so essentially we got a Matt episode in episode 5 where he's fighting back Daredevil. He's fighting back the mask, the devil inside. He's trying to remain as Matt Murdock as much as he can. And episode 6 is that for Wilson Fisk. Him trying to retain Wilson Fisk to not break out into the Kingpin villain. And God, did it come out in the most glorious way for both of them at the end of this. But so real quick, episode 5, I don't really have a recap. Essentially, there's a bank robbery. It's the Irish. But it's also Luca's goons, which I believe is the Tracksuit Mafia. So I guess I just didn't know the Tracksuit Mafia was Irish, or I thought there were 2 separate entities there. But anyways, it's got a couple Irish guys. They rob a bank with a bunch of colorful masks, and Matt Murdock hears it from down the street and decides to put himself into the situation, into the hostage situation there. And we get to see Charlie Cox explore a little bit as Matt Murdock, and a little bit with the humor and some good dialogue that came out of this episode here. So all around, Lub, what did you think about this episode as a whole? Did you like what they were doing with it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I feel like the stakes could have maybe been a little bit higher. I feel like, no one was in danger. They weren't going to kill off Kamala's dad. That was a cool cameo, though, seeing him in it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And he says, "Oh, Miss Marvel," and Matt's like, "Oh, never heard of her." Like, and he pulls out.
Yeah, who?
I don't really like the Funko Pop thing. That felt like that a little too over the top, but I guess that's the day and age we're in.
It's like Miss Marvel. Like they showed Funko Pops of Avengers. Remember at that like of Heroes convention that Kamala went to, and it showed all the action figures. Yeah, so I think it's a little nod of that. But so overall, you enjoyed it though?
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun little side, one and done episode.
Yeah. JD, how'd it land with you?
Yeah, so I liked it a lot, and I had the same concern where it felt like a filler episode halfway through. And then when I got by the end of it, I appreciated it for how comic-y it felt. So it felt like a single issue, which happens sometimes. It's a pretty isolated story. And it also felt so comic-y itself, like it felt like a superhero Daredevil more so than I've ever seen. And in a way that actually worked, because usually you kind of don't want him to feel like a superhero, but he did here, and it felt like a comic. It also felt like a classic comic book movie, like our Spider-Man 1, or of course Spider-Man 2. Probably has to do with being into a bank, but not only that, it also reminded me of the best part of the MCU with cameos and Kamala's dad, which I haven't even seen Miss Marvel, and I want to see that show now. So I think that's them doing a pretty good job with their cameos. And yeah, I probably won't. I really like the dad, and to be honest, I'm gonna have to check out Miss Marvel at some point if she's gonna be a big character moving forward. Anyway, that character was delightful. The seeing Daredevil throw an F-bomb was really fun. Seeing him get back into the game was fun. But yeah, so it felt comic-y. It felt like classic comic book movie. It felt like classic MCU. And then it was kind of still, Matt Beat was still pretty much a badass, just like Netflix, but it had this comic-y vibe that I haven't seen at Netflix yet, which felt like it would have been hard to nail because Netflix is pretty contrasted to that, but it worked out.
Yeah, it did. It didn't have that full gritty feel to it, the dark feel to it with Netflix, but we still got some intense, fight scenes and whatnot. I think it wasn't like the most quality episode. I think it was a fun little side thing. Again, I think the best part of it was kind of toying with Matt's return. And I did like to see, it was a unique situation. We haven't really seen Matt in that situation where he gets to talk that much with criminals before he really reveals himself, and the whole strategy to, okay, we'll wait for them to be separated. Yusuf, you got to buy me some time here. So I liked aspects of it. There were some plot holes, here and there. Romez guy is actually in the chat, and he mentioned a part where I totally agree with. He thought it was lackluster, lots of leaps in faith, especially the main guy not knowing the other guy's voice. I thought Matt's Irish accent wasn't the greatest, little imitation, and he kind of bought it right up. So I thought that too when that happened. But for what it was, I had fun. I enjoyed Yusuf. Yeah, Kamala's dad. That was a pretty big cameo. He was in it pretty much the whole episode. And I enjoyed him in Miss Marvel. He was one of the few aspects I liked of that show. So it was a cool interconnective tissue there that, again, we're getting back into with the MCU here, which is nice. I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, the lead robber had a hella funny line.
I was just gonna say that guy was good.
A blind solicitor and an orphan. You're like fucking Charles Dickens character, aren't you?
He had some good dry humor.
Yeah, I like the trash talk and a lot of the stuff about him being blind and whatnot. But
and how
the one thing I didn't get,
how he walks in at first just whistling like he's just a blind guy who has no idea what's going on.
Hey, what's going on here? That was a nice little deal there. But I didn't get why the lead guy was whooping Matt's ass so much. Like, who is this fool who's throwing hands with Matt? He was like kind of manhandling him for the first part of that fight. And then we see Matt knock him on his back and then jump up and just snap the dude's leg. Like, that was brutality. That had my jaw drop when he just full weight jumped on fool's knee.
And a beer ball to the eye.
Yeah, that's what started it. He knocked him off balance. He straight kicked him and then just double jumped on his leg and snapped it. That was wild. I thought that was a solid little Disney violence in there.
Yeah, Disney's going far.
Yeah. F-bombs too.
Props.
Yeah, good amount of them.
Right.
What else? There wasn't a lot of other major stuff from this episode. A lot of hints at Matt's struggle with the mask as we hear him talking about it. A lot of duality there with the next episode. But other than that, did you guys have any other thoughts on this first episode?
That's it. Short, sweet, isolated, fun, comic-y. Shut up, love.
Yeah.
The hostages were dumb to start running around when the cops came in, though. They all started, like, screaming with their hands up, running around. It's like, yeah, right when the crossfire starts, let's fucking run right in the middle. And it's like, go back and just hide somewhere. Like, so that was a little...
Yeah, they're not very smart. All right.
Froze.
Let's get in the next episode then. Oh, yeah, Lub, I hope you weren't talking yet because your face is frozen. Oh. I don't know if you were talking. I just heard the end of what sounded like a sentence at the end, so you might have skipped. Yeah. You freeze. You're back now.
Yeah.
It froze. It was silence for a while, and then it just heard.
Dude, there's lightning like a mile away. I see it flashing very largely.
Thor is celebrating our recording.
Yes.
It's like Vikings when he's leading them across the sea. That's sick, remember? Did you guys see Vikings?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, when they're like about to get washed up. It's pretty. Season 1, I think, was really good. Season 1.
I want to see it because obviously I love Travis Fimmel already, and he's the main in there, and I like the actors who play his sons too. So I'm super interested in it. I just haven't started it.
I'm getting to it.
Love's getting to it.
And on our next topic for Why So Cities, a review of Severance. No.
Oh, I got 40 minutes into the finale. I still didn't finish it.
We should review it. I just got to watch it.
All right, let's get into episode 6. So we got the back-to-backers here. We got a Kingpin episode for the most part, and then they kind of intersect at the end here. But again, don't have a recap for you. We got a lot of Kingpin and Vanessa stuff going on here. They're working their relationships out. We get some fundraiser dinners. And then we get, at the very end of the episode, Muse makes his way. Well, not the very end. I think he was kind of in it throughout it. But Muse shows up in this episode. We see a lot of Muse. We see Cole North, which me and JD talked about.
Yeah.
And he was not what I was expecting,
right.
really, to be honest.
Smaller.
Yes, much smaller. So we just read
Zdarsky's
Volume 1 for Daredevil, and in it there's a new detective that gets brought into Hell's Kitchen, and he's just massive, just unit of this man, just a black detective who comes in and he's coming after Daredevil. And we were talking about it. We're like, I wonder if they'll do Cole North in this show. And they did, but it was just an average sized dude. It was one of the guys who's on the anti-vigilante task force for Kingpin. One of the first black dudes it kind of focuses in on and focuses.
That guy?
Yes.
Yeah,
So he's Cole North. I was really hoping they went with the physically intimidating.
Yeah, me too.
That's kind of half his deal in the comics. It feels
Right.
like he's a beast.
Right, and it's also so different because one of the first scenes, I don't know if that was in Volume 1, but did he approach Fisk and say like, "Yeah, you're the mayor. Yeah, I'm after Daredevil, but I also know you're a thug. I'm after you too."
Yes.
That was Volume 1. So like
He's
very
not
different.
dirty.
Right. He's not dirty at all. He's the opposite.
He's like Sheriff
overly
Hale in
honorable.
Sons of Anarchy or something.
Yes.
Yeah, super integrity lawman who really wants to take down the vigilantes who are making a joke out of the law. Really believes in the law system, and that clearly is not the Cole North we're getting. Unless maybe at some point maybe he has ideological fault with this and he ends up breaking against the team and helps Daredevil here. I don't know, but. They've got to have a plan for him. Otherwise, why bring in a guy and specifically name him Cole North just to have him be another cop thug? So
Right.
I think we're gonna see something come out of that.
He's the main cop thug.
Who is or he is?
He is. He's the lead. He's
Well,
the leader.
him and homeboy from Kingtown, Powell, Officer Powell, who was in it a lot in this one too. So we get that Hector's sister and daughter are brought in this a little bit, and then we get Kingpin and Adam facing off right before Daredevil and Muse face off. So let's get through all the boring stuff. Kingpin and Luca confronts Kingpin in his office as mayor. Bold ass move. Apparently dead set on the fact that Kingpin is no longer, because you would not talk to Kingpin like this the way you did. You don't embarrass him in front of Vanessa. You don't embarrass him in the mayor's office. That is a recipe for death. So Luca had some balls coming in, talking some trash. But the biggest thing, Fisk gets briefed on these graffiti things that are going on through the city, and he's told, we can't clean this stuff because it's made with blood. And then they put some type of, I forgot what it was, over the top of it. But yeah, basically sealing this human blood and all this graffiti so they can't clean it off the walls. There are a lot of political messages to the point where people are looking up to this Muse tag as a hero of the city, which we see a couple girls see him and are like, "Oh, are you Muse?" And then he, attacks them and starts draining their blood and all that stuff because he's a serial killer. Whoops. Wrong artist to fall in love with there, guys. So that was interesting. We got a fundraiser dinner with Fisk and Vanessa, but another cameo, and this one worked for me too. Again, they're throwing in a lot of cameos that are super subtle, but it totally blends in with the fabric of the MCU. And that was Jack, Kate Bishop's mom's boyfriend, that we see in Hawkeye, the swordsman, and Hawkeye.
Stepdad.
Yeah, but he ended up not being it. You thought
That's right.
You thought he was a douche. You thought he was evil for the first few episodes, and then you realize he had Kate's back through everything. He was a genuinely good dude, and I really liked him by the end of Hawkeye. I was like, this guy's dope.
Right.
And so we saw him in this because he's a part of the New York elite, and we see Kingpin having to kiss the butts of all the New York elite and kind of being told by the elite, you're mayor now, but we're the elite. We still outrank you.
Right.
You need to know your place here. So that was interesting. So did you guys think anything of this whole fundraiser situation and everything with Fisk and Vanessa?
Well, I'm really excited to see what Kingpin does to remind the streets that he's Kingpin. Because after that Luca thing, and Vincent D'Onofrio just absolutely killed it. Like the whole facial expressions, trying to stay calm, but inside just boiling. His face is twitching. So that's going to be a moment. The way this show is going, they're going to give us a moment like that because Kingpin's going to come back hard the way he did Adam. That was the dam cracking a little bit, right? But it hasn't broken yet, and the river hasn't started flowing. Release the river. But
Hell yeah.
What else? So I'm excited for that. Muse was crazy. Oh, let's go back, though, to the Elite thing. Remember, and spoiler alert for the Zdarsky comics, I guess, but I was talking about how that's one of the volumes soon is Kingpin's mayor in there. but he goes into these elites, like has this dinner party, and full spoilers, right? They're doing that same thing. They're bullying him, like this political jargon, all this stuff, like pretty much making him feel small, and he just murders one in the bathroom, and that causes some drama. So I wonder if they'll go that far. But same thing, they're really just following that comic so closely. So they're even having the elites like, talk down to him and stuff. And then with Adam, it's like that anger. That's why he released Adam, right? Like he's getting fed up with not being respected like he used to, and then that happened in his office. So he's gonna go home and take it out on Adam. I thought that was savage. I thought, kind of thought he was gonna kill him, just take that axe to him, and instead he hands him the axe and then says, "Well, let's go 1-on-1." That was pretty savage. So.
Savage. He let the devil out for sure.
Yeah.
There, that was sick. Yeah, that was. I enjoyed that a lot. Love, did you get anything out of the fundraiser dinner or anything there? Any other comments on that whole first half of the episode?
It was interesting how they were basically like, we've been corrupt in our own ways for 10, 20 years now, and you're gonna try and come in and change things so you can make money. Like, it's not gonna work like that, man.
Yeah, we're old money corrupt. You're new in this game here. We've had generations of corruption here.
Fist had a good idea though when he talks about how there's already been 60 victims for Muse, and he says when sanitation finds out before the police, maybe it's time to switch things up, which obviously makes him create that task force. But it's like, how does this go unseen for 60 dead people?
It's a lot. It is a lot, and that's a lot of blood and a lot of murals painted with said blood from 60 people. And we get the scene where Matt gets told that too. There's a serial killer out there with upwards of 60 kills, and he goes, "You got to let this one go," because obviously, like, he's gonna feel the need to go. And I think Cherry told him that because Cherry knows his secret. He saw him on the rooftop in episode 1. So it's interesting. Again, the parallel seeing Matt and Fisk both getting this news of the 60 kills thing here.
Right.
And they're both kind of reacting in their own ways to it. And Kingpin sees it as an opportunity. Like you said, he gets the anti-vigilante task force with Cole North, Officer Powell, and all the other corrupt Punisher-tatted cops in the city. So that'll be interesting because I'm stoked just because we're going to get some dope street-level fighting between Daredevil and this anti-vigilante task force. So I'm excited to see him kick some ass there. I'm excited to see Punisher face off against this task force here. It's really setting up some cool plot points moving forward.
Yeah.
But, dude, let's talk about the third act here. Let's talk about that's why we're here, the whole reason here. So Matt gets a call from Hector's sister saying her daughter is missing. We just saw her get abducted by Muse, and Matt calls 911, then hangs up and says, "Fuck it."
Oh, that
Runs
was this
to
episode.
his suit, gets the suit on, sprints straight into some more god-awful CGI rooftop running. I don't know what the hell the deal is. Stop doing that because I love every other aspect of the stuff you're doing right now, but that CGI rooftop running looks so fake and choppy and just unnatural in every way. I don't like it. It sticks out to me so much.
pretty bad.
That it takes me out of the moment. Like, it takes the emotion of his return away when all of a sudden you see a PS2 cutscene of him jumping across roofs. It's like, dude, come on. I just got stoked, and now I'm critiquing you.
Even when he jumps over the wall right after the CGI scene and like goes
Yeah.
like that in midair, it looked like he jumped over like a cardboard wall or something on a set. It didn't look very real.
It's not. It doesn't look good. Getting emotional about it. Yeah, I don't understand the lack of CGI with that stuff, or the lack of quality with the CGI. I'd prefer a lack of CGI. But man, so Muse is starting to take the blood from this girl, and Daredevil runs in, and we get a pretty dope ass fight scene. If I don't say so myself, I wish we would have gotten this for the bullseye fight. We have amazing hand-to-hand choreography here. Why did we do the CGI in the first part? Because this fight was awesome. I loved it. Muse kicked some ass. We saw a lot of really cool combos. And one thing here, in the Netflix series, Daredevil did a lot of unnecessary backflip kicks where it felt totally out of the way. Like you could have just punched him to knock him out there. He had a dope one here. He had a dope setup where he hit him with the backflip kick. And for once I was like, that was actually like necessary, or practical in that situation. So I freaking loved it. What'd you think of the Muse Daredevil scene, Lub?
I love how it started with the subway lights and the Muse is looking out there and he's like, can I see? And like the red was reflecting in his eyes too, made him look
Yes,
even
and
more
he's running
creepy.
up, right?
Yeah, and the Daredevil just does like the spring attack and just goes ham. Like, oh, you can tell he's been waiting for this. He's like, oh, I got the suit back on. I'm Daredevil again. Let's go. And he was on his A game for sure. And even when Muse tries to kill her and he throws the rope against the wall to stop him from like behind his back, and then comes over
crazy.
and takes him out again. Like, it was a great fight.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, well, so I guess on Page you could do this character mysteriously, have him show up, kill people with blood, paint some stuff, and then move on. But like in the MCU, they're gonna have to explain why he knows how to fight someone like Daredevil, right? Like maybe he's from the Hand, he has some kind of background. They're not just gonna have him.
Right.
They can't really do that on screen. I feel like they kind of have to explain where he came from and what he is. So I'm really curious to hear about that because we have zero of that in the comics. We haven't. They could do whatever they want there. I would guess if he's that trained. I'm guessing the Hand, and maybe that plays into Shadowland to Daredevil.
Good.
I love his presence. It reminds me of the Riddler, the way he breathes through his mask, and it just feels so real and visceral.
Yeah.
I think his design is pretty badass, and I'm looking forward to see where his story goes. I wonder if they're like the comics. He had a little bit, and he was gone, disappeared. Like spoiler alert, dies like real quickly. And I wonder if he'll just do that same thing just for the cool villain, cool little murder side story for like a 4-episode arc or something, or maybe he's got something bigger. But I like him, so yeah, I'm excited to see more.
Straight up.
The end part too. The end part was sick. When he hangs him.
Dude,
Wild.
I thought he was about to kill him. I for
Same.
sure thought he was about to kill him there. And it's interesting because, again, parallels. We're seeing this roll out while Kingpin is letting the devil out on Adam. And I don't think he fully killed Adam. I think he was still in labor. So it seemed like they both stopped themselves short of killing during this little release that they finally broke out. So I liked that aspect to it. Obviously, Kingpin's MO is killing. So the fact that he didn't end up kill Adam. But dude, one of my favorite, I think it was my favorite part is after Matt lets out the visceral scream and then he ducks a punch, hooks him with the right hand, and just body tosses him up in the air, exactly like Batman's warehouse body slam in Batman vs. Superman, and just violently slams Muse into a table. And right after that, it cuts to Kingpin doing the same and throwing Adam like through lights into the ceiling beam, just tossing this fool. I loved it. It just felt so satisfying watching both of them just let loose like this. I loved it. It got me going.
Well, it was parallel fight, but it was different though because I just felt bad for Adam the whole time because he's just like like yeah, Daredevil's back in his old ways, and then it's like, damn, Fist, like this is just a guy who like
Kingpin's killing innocents again. Hell yeah.
Right? Like he probably thought you were dead, you were gone. He just got in with your wife because she's powerful, and then just here's this axe, fight for your life, and he's like, I like the groan he did where he's just like. Like I'm gonna give it all I got, and then when Fist takes him out, he yells, "Mine!" Like talking about Vanessa.
The child is coming out again.
Yep.
The traumatized child.
Because when that starts coming out, we see some gnarly stuff follow. I don't know. I've seen some people saying a lot of the world building is rushed in this and whatnot. I will say Muse. It would have been a little cooler to see it dragged out a little more, like more of the creepy, mysterious serial killer stuff going on before the Daredevil fight here. Drag it on a little more. Yeah, I think it would have been cooler to have that creepy background build up while Matt is dealing with Fisk. And then we had this little third thing going on that's crescendoing the further we get into the season. But I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. And I think maybe it's partially because I was so nervous about the show, and I just feel a relief every time I enjoy an episode. And I feel like they're handling the character pretty well and respectfully in the case of Netflix creating him. So I'm really enjoying it. I like the 2-episode drop here. I think I maybe would have felt a little unsatisfied if they left it just as episode 5. So I love that they did this double. Yeah, it was a good call. It was a good call.
Right. And there's a lot going on. There's a lot of storylines like you're talking about earlier with the Cop Force and Punisher and Muse, Daredevil, Kingpin, and they're all pretty interesting
Bullseye,
stories.
Where the hell's he?
Yeah. So everything going on so far is interesting, and there's a lot going on at the same time. So I think they're doing a good job, and we have 3 more episodes, so we'll see how they finish it.
It's already over, kinda. That sucks. Do you think the Punisher and Muse will fight?
I don't think so. I think he's gonna be with the cops.
I
right?
don't think. Yeah, I think his story lies with the cops wearing his symbol, killing in his name, which he doesn't. It's not what he's about, and they're using his symbol wrong. So I don't. Yeah, probably not a fight with Muse, but I kind of wish that we saw that. That'd be fun. At least, I want to see the Punisher interact with someone a little unhinged. A little crazy, a little weird. Someone like Muse would be a lot of fun.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Bullseye, to be honest.
I'm still curious at what his role is supposed to be. I feel like they're almost saving him for season 2 at this point. Like it was like a little teaser with episode 1, and then the end of this season is gonna be a tease into him.
Wait.
I don't know.
We saw set photos of him like suited up, like with the Punisher logo on his chest. We saw set
Oh, I
photos.
was talking about Bullseye.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And in the set photos we saw of Bullseye, we already saw in
Right.
that first episode. All the set photos we saw of him were in that scene.
Right.
No, Punisher, I agree. I think he's for sure gonna show up in this season and mess some people up. I think Kingpin is probably gonna draft Muse to his cause after seeing how valuable he could be and like how helpful maybe he
Good
can
call.
use in some of his master plans. Kind of like how he did with Bullseye in season 3 there. So I could see that happening, and Muse only kind of playing into the part because it's helping his goal too, maybe. Because I think Muse is smart enough to not get tricked into helping Kingpin. He seems like he's kind of a psychotic mastermind, maybe, or he's just a psycho. Who knows? I guess we'll find out. But I see a lot of clashing, and I could see like a Punisher Daredevil against Muse Kingpin type conflict by the end of this here. But really, most of all, I am most excited just to see Matt and Kingpin whoop the Anti-Vigilante Task Force's ass. Like, I can't wait for that episode.
Yeah. You mean Matt and Punisher?
All right.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts? Yeah.
He did mean that.
Huh?
I said Matt and Kingpin.
Really,
You
really
meant,
dumb.
You meant Matt.
Yeah. Whoops. I guess
I don't even remember what I said at this point. So
Again,
I'll take your word for it.
anyone interested in a podcast spot?
All I'm saying is, the last couple times we've reviewed the tape, I've been right about what was said.
That was
but
rough.
I'm gonna take your word on this one.
Oh, what was that? Yeah, we did check
I
the
don't
tapes.
remember what it was about, but any last thoughts before we wrap it up here?
My last thought is, dude, 6 episode. Well, God, it's already over halfway, but yeah, I'm fully confident in the rest of the season. There's no concern
Yep.
that we're gonna get a shitty Daredevil season anymore. We're good. 3 more episodes of pure gold is what I'm expecting.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
So you guys think they did a good job? Because originally Daredevil wasn't in his suit until the finale. Is that what it was?
8 episodes out of the 20 episode original plan. He
Okay.
wasn't in his suit till episode 8.
So now
So
it's
we
what,
got him
5 out
1
of
and
9.
6.
Which, my God, it was almost yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, we.
They did
But
a
it was
good
still,
job.
but it was still good. Yeah.
Yeah, they teased it well,
Yeah,
and now
I didn't find myself complaining. That he wasn't in it. I was still
Right.
enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think with that being said, like, I think they're doing a pretty
Yeah.
good job dealing with the. Uh-oh, you're skipping. What were you saying? Lub?
He's calling you crazy.
Bueller?
It's really rude.
But yeah, I think they're doing a good job with it all. It's not perfect, but again, I think my relief overweighs any type of criticism I have for it right now. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So, and I'm not stressed about the next 3 episodes. Just pure excitement. So, we'll see what they bring us. Stoked to cover it. We will obviously be covering each episode as it drops. Hopefully having our friend Andy from the Galactic Core podcast on one of these episodes to cover it with us here. So we'll keep you posted on that. But yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned for our coverage. Stay tuned for any Daredevil season 2 news that comes out, and for our next Doomsday episode, because we got news coming out all across the MCU. We will be covering that. We got Thunderbolts in less than 2 months. We got some stuff coming up. So stay tuned. Thank you for joining us here at Why So Sidious Podcast. I was your host, David. Thank you to my co-hosts, Caleb and JD. And we will see all you guys next time on Why So Sidious, the Nerd Podcast.
Yeah, my internet
Not
went
bad.
out a couple times. That's why.
Mine did
I
too.
know you froze, and then it it went silent, so I thought you were done. I started talking, and then all of a sudden I'd hear like a word come from you. I was like, "Yep, you were talking
really?
the whole time."
Oh,
Yeah.
'cause I was just silent the whole time. I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, word. All right, maybe there's just a little skip there. I don't know.